The scientists creating the foods of the future. Let's definitely watch this. This comes from Vice News.
For chefs like Wouter Meijer, a lot goes into designing a menu.
It's a stew, right? Vegetable stew.
Ja, ja eigenlijk het is een Marokkaans gerecht. De saus is ook gemaakt van gepureerd van verse tomaten.
But the taste and variety of ingredients that Meijer has to choose from every night are not by accident.
Die beurre blanc moet dus nog gemaakt worden. En dan heb ik hier nog het recept voor die keukenbuf.
There's a whole industry set up to research and design the taste, texture, and color of every fruit and vegetable, even the ones at your grocery store, so that by the time something hits your plate, it's everything we've come to love.
Yes.
Cheers.
The quest to create new and better varieties of produce is big business, like $10 billion a year big. It's why Brussels sprouts don't taste bitter anymore, how we have seedless watermelons, why pineapples can now be pink.
Oh my gosh.
Bro.
And much of that cutting-edge research takes place in the Netherlands, where scientists are quietly creating what they hope will become the foods of the future. Scientists meticulously breed one plant with another in pursuit of certain traits.
And then we pick the fruits, we keep them for a certain amount of days to see what the shelf life is.
Maybe 10, 15 traits that we evaluate.
Tomas Golas's job is to look at taste, shelf life, and disease resistance, and then try to find the perfect balance. The process can take more than 10 years.
This pink tomato, how many other varieties did you have to test out before you came up with this one?
So most of the time when we start breeding program, we create around 1,000 hybrids. So those numbers get narrowed down and narrowed down. And maybe at the end you get one that is commercial.
So that's very tricky because if foods have trends and it takes years to come up with one successful variety, how do you think about that as a breeder?
Well, of course, you can think about your breeding program and you can design it to meet the expectation, but sometimes you're also lucky. You create a product that somehow comes in the right moment, in the right time, to the right person, and then it takes off from there.
I don't know about all that, honestly. GMO food. So basically, that video was basically talking about the foods of the future. Of course, that one was more so speaking to fruits and vegetables and things of that nature. I think that was out in the Netherlands, whatever the case is, where these farmers, or I would call them scientists, are creating fruits in a lab, essentially. I mean, they're growing them, of course, whatever the case is, but yeah, the scientists creating foods of the future. What? Like the lady asked, what's wrong with the food that we have now? See, this is why I'm about to change up my whole diet. I've been saying this for some time. Like, I really want to cut out meat altogether. I really want to cut out all processed foods. Like, I really want to eat super duper clean because I just don't trust the direction that the food is going in. Again, this ties into what I was speaking before as well, too. Current affairs and what the future looks like. The future of food is tricky to me, bro. Honestly, like, you got Bill Gates over there trying to buy up all the land, all the farmland, and he's really pushing for GMO meats or, lab grown meats and, chickens and this, that, and the other. He's really pushing for that. You got what else? Pesticides. It's like, it's now being understood that, fruits, apples are being, of course, we all know that, the food, how it gets from the farm to, the grocery store to on your dinner table, there's a process, right? So of course you heard about shelf life. Shelf life for these retailers are going to be very important in terms of, grocery stores, whatever the case is. Yeah, of course, I get that. So I do understand to keep away just like, insects, whatever the case is. All these foods have pesticides, this and that, the other. I'm talking about creating foods to look good. Of course, they were talking about the taste and the color of some of these items, whatever the case is. Like, I'm talking about that. And then you wonder why there's a rise in like cancer and people are getting sick because what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Why can't we just stick to things that are actually healthy? I feel like by the time you done created something, maybe the effects are so, maybe it takes some time to understand like, oh, that thing that we created this time around, it's been hurting us this entire time. I just feel like, I just don't know, man. I don't know. The food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, all of it is like tampered with, I feel like. For the sake of what? So it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm at the point right now where like I really want to find a diet that works for me. But I'm considering cutting out meat 100%. I just don't have the discipline or the willpower to do it by myself. Like I really need a partner. I really need like a girlfriend. I've been saying like if I knew of a girl that was just like about that life in terms of like she's on her, I'm not necessarily saying vegan or what are the cases, Mediterranean, what are the cases, but I need an accountability partner. Just the same way like a person needs like a personal trainer to go to the gym, what are the cases. Like when it comes to food, like I would need something like that, like somebody who's preparing the meals, what are the cases, because I'm all for convenience. I don't spend longer than 30 minutes. Every meal that I make currently today can be made in 30 minutes or less, maximum 30 minutes. Like I don't make anything that takes longer than 30 minutes to make. So the factor of convenience is always there for me as well too. So I mean, I'm not necessarily eating a bunch of processed foods. I still feel like I eat pretty moderately well now. But still, man, some of these fruits that I'm even getting, and I try to eat, I guess organic, what are the cases, whatever. But even some of the foods that I'm eating now look suspect. Like, man, I know 100% this strawberry is not. I got some strawberries, or I had some strawberries in the fridge earlier. I think I finished them today. It's just like, bro, these are too red. These are too crisp. Like watermelons is like, certain fruits is like, these are too. Come on, bro. Like they're tampered with, man. So what are your thoughts on that, man? What do you think about these GMO foods and the future of food? What does the future of food look like? What does the future of agriculture look like, man? We spoke on that as well too, my last stream, in terms of the farmers that are being regulated by governments and they're, being overtaken or whatever the case is. Like regular people, that's using regular soil, sunlight, water. Okay, maybe a little bit of pesticides to keep away the insects like that. I understand. But when you're talking about creating meat in a lab, chickens in a lab, like, and mind you, to be completely honest, I think all of that stuff is already happening now anyway. Like, I've been saying that for some time. Like, you really think the chicken, we're all eating fresh, organic chicken free of, steroids and pesticides, this, that, and the other. Everything I think we're eating now I think lab grown food is already intertwined in the things that we're eating now. They're slowly but surely integrated and saying like, hey guys, this is what we're working on. Like, hey, just so you know, but come on, there's too many people. I think just the logical supply and demand of just like food and just readiness and preparedness of everybody's not eating fresh, burgers, fresh, like, chickens, whatever the case is, like farm grown, raised. Nah, I think we've been eating things that are grown in the lab. So to try to mitigate my chances of cancer, what are the cases, and all these plastics and microplastics and everything in our bottled waters and lead and all this other stuff. Just try to be hyper mindful of the things that you're eating, man. Be mindful of the things that you're consuming in your body and you're putting on your body. Things I always like to say as well too. So your lotions, your deodorants, um, things of that nature. Be super mindful of the things that you're putting in your body and on your body. That's what I'm trying to be more conscious of. But I do not feel confident for the future of agriculture. I do not feel confident for the future of foods. That's my take. It's a little bit scary, and I'm not with lab grown. Although I feel like we've already been eating a bunch of lab grown, but let's not openly embrace this without looking at the long term effects of what that could do for us in the long term.